I hesitated for a moment, then stepped back from the doorway. "What's your name?" "Picasso. That's what everyone calls me. My real name's Danny Baxter." "Okay, Danny. Come on in. I hope you don't mind if I eat while we talk." He took a seat facing me across the desk. His high-top combat boots gleamed shiny black like the cheap plastic briefcase he was opening. He pulled out a file stuffed with papers, and while I munched a bite of my bagel, he said, "I want you to help me find the person who murdered my mother." I set the bagel down and came forward in my chair. Not exactly what I expected to hear. My guess was he'd been busted for selling or possession or both. "I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm afraid that's a job for the police." He sneered at the word. "They don't give a shit. I've given up on them, man." "So why me?" "I met a kid in Portland from around here. He told me you helped his mom out. His old man was threatening to kill her. He said you're smart, that you don't give up. I want someone like you, someone who's not a cop." I had to smile. I remembered the case. "I might have done that, but it sounds like what you need is a private investigator. I'm just an attorney. I don't do investigative work for a living." His face remained impassive, but his eyes registered pain, like I'd just slapped him. "I can pay you. I've got money." I'm not good at saying no. In fact, I'm lousy at it. Just ask my accountant. Sure, there was something about the kid I liked. His pluck, I guess. But my getting involved in some cold case in Portland made absolutely no sense. And his idea of money probably wouldn't cover my first day. "You've got bills to pay," I reminded myself. I stood up and said, "Sorry, but I'm not your man. I'd be glad to suggest someone who might be able to help you." I expected him to push back, but instead he tossed the file in his briefcase and muttered, half to himself, "Should have known better." The abruptness caught me off guard. It was like he was used to being turned down, and considering his appearance, I supposed it was a regular occurrence. This tugged at me, but I resisted the temptation to ask him to stay. I showed him out the back way. When I returned to my desk, I glanced out the side window just in time to see him pedaling north on a beat-up street bike, with his briefcase bungeed to a rack over the back wheel. A dark band of clouds hung on the horizon in front of him. It was probably 25 miles back to Portland, and I knew he'd get soaked for sure. I shrugged and asked Archie, "Why the hell didn't he just phone me?" Then I turned back to my desk and opened the file of my next client. I had work to do, but the thought of that kid slogging all the way back to Portland in the rain made it hard to concentrate. Chapter 2. I didn't finish up at the office until late that day, and as I started climbing into the Dundee Hills toward my place, a hard rain let loose. It was early summer in Oregon, when sun and cloud vie for dominance, with neither gaining the upper hand for very long. A hand-carved sign outside the gate to my house says Claxton's Erie, Welcome. The sign was a gift from my daughter Claire. The place is perched on a high ridge overlooking the north end of the Willamette Valley. I love it here, probably more than I should. Claire says it's not healthy to live alone in such an isolated place. But I have my dog, Archie. He's as fine a companion as any human could hope for. I have mornings when the fog burns off and the colors in the valley come on like someone flipped a switch. I have nights when the stars glitter like big marbles, not the pinpricks you see, if you're lucky, in the city. I can hear owls and coyotes, too, and even the occasional cougar, whose calls during mating season sound like the wail of a grieving woman. Okay, my leaky old farmhouse is a sitting duck for the storms that roar up the valley in winter, but I've gotten pretty good with a caulk gun, and every once in a while a storm leaves a perfect rainbow in its wake. At my mailbox